Hi everybody, this is Sally and welcome to Back to Basics. I am filling in because of the big storm that's hitting the East Coast for one of our vloggers who is safely tucked away and will probably be unable to upload a video. So, glad to fill in. It's a very good question this week. And in case you don't know me, my YouTube name is Cabernet Queen and I've been around 3 years this November. Actually, in another less than a week, it'll be my third year anniversary of the date of my weight loss surgery, RNY. I am 55, just turned 55. I lost 120 pounds in total and have maintained that loss for 3 years. I had, did I mention that? Gastric bypass, yes. I am mostly a vegetarian. I guess you call me a flexitarian for those that don't know me. But that's enough about me. Let's get on to the question. The question of the week is tough times and plateaus. How did you deal with them? Or how do you deal with them? Well, I thought about that. It's a two-pronged question. The first thing that came to my mind was plateaus. And I remember very clearly and it's very typical to go through a plateau. The first, my plateau hit pretty much February, and I'd had my surgery early November. So you usually hit a plateau about 6 months, not quite 6 months out. A few months out after surgery, body doesn't get, moves along pretty rapidly, and then all of a sudden it stalls. At least that was my experience. And it is hard, and I've seen people really struggle through plateaus. The way I dealt with it, and in hindsight, overall everything seemed successful to me in the end. But whether it really had a huge impact at that moment, I don't know. But what it did cause me to do was, reevaluate everything I was doing very carefully. Now, I ate pretty well, but I'd never gotten into the exercise thing, and that to the degree that I should have, because there are statistics that show that if you've had RNY, the first few months that you have had surgery, whatever you're doing exercise-wise counts like double the first 6 months. So if you're doing X amount, it's equal to double that. Sort of like the same way in reverse. Whatever you're eating, you're only absorbing half. Well, if you're exercising, you're doing double the amount. Your body's impacted double the amount. So don't waste those times not exercising the first 6 months out of surgery. So what I did was I made myself an agreement with myself to go to the gym every day. I joined a gym. There were classes in the morning. They were all included. And I told myself that I would need to go through every class they had on the roster one at a time to decide which were the right fit for me. And that the deal was, you didn't have to do them forever, but you had to go in them once. And once you entered the door, you could not leave. And it didn't matter whether you were mortified, embarrassed, falling over your own feet, passing out. You could not leave the class until it was over. And I stuck to that, and it helped me decide what classes I really, really liked and what classes weren't best for me, weren't suited to my body type, weren't suited to my age, weren't suited to my speed. So for whatever purpose, that was a big help. And it got my focus off the weight loss when I hit that plateau and onto building good habits, which is another thing that I would talk about. For me, when I hit plateaus or low points, I found the key for me was always to concentrate on the process. All about process. And I found my whole journey was about process. It wasn't about result, although everybody wants result. I want a result. But for me, to focus on the actions that you take and being consistent, and let whatever happens from focusing on your daily actions, and only that, happen. Whatever happens, happens. You have no control of the amount of weight your body's going to drop. You can only control the choices you make daily. What goes in your mouth and what activity you do. And being able to focus my mind on that level of building better habits for life I took the long-term view and not the short-term scale-fixated view. Now, granted, we all go through that. We all frustrate ourselves. We don't know why the scale's not moving, but you know what? It is what it is, and it's that way for everybody, and it's just part of the package that we get when we sign on. It's better than not signing on at all. In the end, the results do come. It took maybe 10 months for me to lose 120 pounds, which seems not a long time, but it averages out to about 2 pounds a month, and that's what my body decided to do. And it's okay, because in the end, I've kept it off, and because I spent time building habits. Okay. The next part of the question was really, the two-pronged approach was tough times. And then I wondered what that really meant. How would you define tough times? And I thought about, what was the toughest time? What was the toughest time? Was it when I had kidney stones? Well, you know what? You have kidney stones. It hurt. You had some pain. You went and you had a thing done. You had to have a stent in your kidney for like 3 months, which was a real pain in the butt because I didn't feel like I could move as well or walk as well. That was really got old. That was kind of a downtime. I made it through by just doing what I do, one foot in front of the other. That was short-lived. It was over. I would put that right in the pile with after I lost weight and having had some plastic surgery and the downtime you have in recuperation. That is a downtime. It's down emotionally. It's hard to not, you're worried about losing your momentum. But you know what? You get over it and you move on. You pull up your big girl panties and you move on. I would also say one of the hard times for me was a feeling of isolation I had within the WLS community, because I found out about month 3 that I just did not do meat well anymore. Meat did not agree with me. I was a gulper, and it didn't matter how many times I chewed, meat just sat there and I hated it. It made you not want to eat it. And I stopped eating meat, and I started to eat legumes and vegetables and things like that. And I couldn't talk about it. I was making videos. I felt like a fraud. I felt like I had to pretend, and I couldn't come out of the so-called vegetarian closet or flexitarian closet until I started to feel, because the message was constantly YouTube, protein first, protein first, protein first, and made you feel like there was some, excuse me, seriously wrong with you. But I felt in my gut that it was the right thing for me. And finally, I saw Dr. Garth Davis talk about the way you could eat, and that protein wasn't the end-all and be-all of everything, and it was important in the beginning, but it wasn't important always in the long term for everyone, and da-da-da-da. I think you should all go see Dr. Garth Davis and what he has to say about life as a flexitarian vegetarian. So when I was free to come out of the closet, I really rejoiced and felt like I could be honest with who I was and what I was doing. I still don't eat a lot of meat. I don't mind a little meat now and then, but it's not my first choice. It's just not my first choice of things to eat. And I'm perfectly healthy and I'm perfectly fine. And I think not eating the fat content in meat definitely has helped me keep my weight off.